course, it's Michelle Waterson, the Karate Hottie. First, I got to ask you, I hate my nickname. I got given a nickname a long time ago of Twinkle Toes. I can't stand it. It drives me nuts. I want to get rid of it, but people just keep bringing it up, so it's just I'm stuck with it. Do you actually like the Karate Hottie as your nickname?
I think it's catchy. You know, it doesn't completely like embody who I am, but it's a catchy nickname that everybody. It's easy for people to remember, so I don't mind having it.
Who gave it to you?
Well, when I was in college, I was working at Hooters and I was doing like modeling and photo shoots, and I met this guy who owned a company called Bikini.com, and we got to talking, and he wanted to feature me on his website, and each of the models were themed, so it was like the Crushing Russian and the Sports Fanatic, and he found out they did martial arts, and he said, how cool would it be if I named you the Karate Hottie? We could do like a little, a piece on you. So I said, cool, let's do it. And this is before I started fighting professionally. I took my first professional fight, and the promoter asked if I had a nickname. I told him no. So then he Googled me, and that's the first thing that popped up. So I used it.
And now you're stuck with it. That's just...
I was stuck with it.
Nicknames are a funny thing, and they get caught. And it's funny, like when I'll say your name, like, hey, I'm interviewing Michelle Waterson today, and they're like, who? I'm like, the Karate Hottie. Like, oh yeah, that's right, she's fighting this weekend. I'm like yeah.
Yeah, like I'll be on the street, and they don't say, are you Michelle Waterson? They stop them. Are you the Karate Hottie?
It works. Obviously, like I said, it works, and it sticks, and it makes people remember, and that's what we're trying to do in the sport is make people remember who you are. So you're in Sacramento, obviously, right now. How has Sacramento been treating you since you got there?
You know what? Even when I came out here for the presser, I got nothing but love. There's a lot of people out here that are excited for the fight, excited that, it's a female headlining show opening, the new arena with the UFC. The UFC really put the trust in it, and me and Paige to go in there and put on a show. So I really have gotten nothing but love.
You're always super nice, but there's got to be part of you during training camp where you're like, I got to not like this person. I gotta figure out a way to really beat her up. How do you find that zone when it comes to Paige? Like, what did you do to Go ahead.
I have tried in the past to not like a person in my fights, and it just doesn't work for me. It gets me too emotionally pent up, and it just puts my head in the wrong spot. But I think what it is important, because I've gone the complete opposite, where I've given them too much credit, and it didn't work for me either. So what I've come to realize is I just have to be honest with myself and just try to answer questions that come at me more honestly instead of trying to be politically correct. So when I think about Paige, and I've said it before, and now everybody's like using that line as me talking trash. But when I think about Paige, I think that she's a green fighter. I think that she still has lots to learn, and that's not to say that she's not dangerous, and that's not to say that I haven't prepared the most I've ever been prepared for any fight. But that's just me being honest with myself,
So she obviously got a big push because why? Like she's on everybody's radar. Like everybody knows about her, and they can't believe that she got completely dominated. You know what I'm saying in her last. So it's like people are really having a hard time with it because they don't understand how she's a household name, but could get beat so severely the last time that she was out. So it's like, how does she get to that level? Do you think the UFC put a lot of faith in pushing her to get her to the top a lot quicker than she should have been? Is she being pushed too quickly?
I think it's a two-way street. Some people are really good at marketing themselves, and other people aren't. Paige just happens to be one of those people that, she's just been in the right place at the right time, and everything just seems to be falling into place for her, which is great. I'm happy for her. I'm happy for her success. And, for her to be successful, it just helps all the rest of us. She got a lot of praise for her grit and her toughness when she fought Rose. And that's a great thing to have as a fighter. It's also something that can hurt you, as you continue on with your career, because grit and toughness can only take you so far until you meet somebody that just has the same amount of grit and toughness plus skill.
And I want to apologize. I said her last fight out, but Rose was 2 fights ago. She obviously knocked out Beck Rollins here back in August. I apologize. I misplaced the 2 fights around. But yeah, and then when she came out after she got beat by Rose, she's like, I have a lot to work on. I've got a lot of things I got to figure out. Let me go back and figure them out. And she seemed to think that she got him worked out a little bit against Beck. But you're saying that you still see some severe flaws in her game. Was it hard to come up with a game plan to exploit those flaws in her plan?
I think it is because, like I said, with Paige, she's still trying to find herself. She's still trying to find her style. And so every time I've seen her fight, when we're scouting her films, she's a different fighter. Of course, there are little things here and there that she does that are her own habits, but she's still evolving. And so that's what makes it hard, is that we just have to prepare for everything. We had to prepare for ground, for stand-up, for cage war, and that's what we did.
How do you feel with your training camp? And please don't give me the line of what's the best training camp of my life, and I'm the best shape I've ever been in. And I don't we all have ups and downs. We all have days we got to miss practice. We all have hurt fingers and busted up elbows and stuff, just day-to-day life stuff that happens. How was this training camp?
I feel like I've had the longest training camp in the world. I feel like I've been training for a year and a half. So going back all the way from when my hand re-broke, when I busted my knee, and it's just like, God, I was so close, 2 weeks away from going out to Germany the last time. And I remember sparring, and I was 2 weeks away. I was like, all right, this is like my last hard week of sparring. So I'm telling myself, okay, commit to your punch. And of course I commit to my punch, and then boom, my hand breaks again. And I didn't think anything of it. So I shake it off, and the round's still going. And I just feel this tingle go down my arm. I finish the round, and I take my glove off, and I just see this huge lump in my hand. And I just remember like my heart sinking into my gut, and looking for coach and just praying and just saying, God, I don't care if it's swollen, I don't care if it's jammed, just please don't let it be broke, because I'm so close to fighting. And I showed it to Coach Wink, and he's like, yep, it's broke. And I broke down because I was so close. I was so close. And God, how could this happen to me again? How could I be so close? And I just had to. It was like more of a mental struggle than anything, to kind of come to grips with my career and with myself and with who I am as a person, and be okay with the fact that I had this huge long delay. And once I came to grips with that, then everything kind of just fell into place. And I started training because I loved the martial arts, and not because I needed to get into the UFC and show the world who I was. I trained because martial arts is my life. And now everything's great.
It's a little hypocritical when women break down in training practice. It's kind of accepted. They've had a tough day. They had a rough day. But you being over at Winks, you've seen a lot of guys break down in the middle of practice too, for whatever reason. And there's a lot of different stuff going on, because we're humans, and fighters have real lives and stuff happening at the same time. Mm-hmm. How does it happen in practice? When you broke down, you and Wink are really close. So when you broke down, Wink grabbed you, I'm sure, and was like, look, we'll get through it, whatever, and gave you coaching words of encouragement. Does he do the same thing for his other competitors, his other fighters as well, even if it's a guy and has a breakdown moment?
Yeah, I think that I think all the coaches are different, and they handle things differently. Coach Wink is kind of like a straight up guy, which is what I love about him. Coach Jackson is more of the guy that just lets me cry on his shoulder. That day, it was in the summer, and so I remember going up to Coach and being like, just please don't tell me it's broke. And he grabbed my hand and he said, well, Peanut, it's broke. Like, he's just straight up. He's just going to tell me what it is, And so I broke down and I said, this is my career. I'm supposed to be fighting, and I'm supposed to be making money for my family, and all I'm doing is spending money on my medical bills. And I had to have some time alone. I just went to the bathroom and started crying. My daughter was actually there because it was the summertime, so she's hanging out in the gym. So she was there, and she came in and she gave me a hug, and she just said, "It's okay, Mom. I still love you."
See, and that really is, and I said this before when we weren't recording yet, but it's you and Sarah McMahon are the two women in MMA that I'm like, my boys and my girl, my daughter, like this is you have to look at for that kind of stuff. And when your daughter is like, hey, look, I still love you, like it's totally fine. Like, Mom, it's all right. Like I get it, you're hurt. We'll get through this. Do you feel that added pressure sometimes of being that huge role model when you're out there because your daughter is like really paying attention to you? Like, do you feel that extra pressure? Or is it just like, this is Mom's job. This is what Mom does. When I get home tonight, we'll sit down and we're going to go over your homework and we're going to do stories and this is what happens. Which way is it with you?
I think it just puts things into perspective because when, things go wrong, when shit hits the fan, I want to have the emotional reaction of throwing a fit. But I think about what I would tell my daughter if something bad happened to her, if she hit a road if she hit a block in the road, or if she had something challenging going on in her life, what I would tell her, So then it kind of makes me rethink everything and think about the adversity as more of a challenge.
That's awesome, Michelle. Thanks so much for coming on here. I don't want to keep it too much longer because I know it's a huge day for you. And making weight tomorrow and then a big fight on Saturday. This is incredible. I'm so glad you're back. And I'm glad that you actually didn't try to start training again because you wanted to prove to the world that you can do this and that you need to be back in the UFC, but you did it just because I love martial arts. That's the best way to approach sports in any way. You love for the love of the game has been the term that's been out there for a while. It's great to see you back. I can't wait to see you compete this weekend. Have a great time. Enjoy the rest of the process. Have fun and enjoy the victory when you're done.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
All right. Bye.